Welcome to On the Sidelines, the show that discusses sports and how sports intersects our lives. I'm your host, Paul McGrath, and I'm glad that you could join us for this edition. Our guests today have played professional hockey, acted in Hollywood movies, written a book, and have also lived a normal life, I think, similar to you and me. Later in the show, we will have our usual photo from On the Sidelines segment. There will be a trivia question concerning the picture, and thanks to our friends at Avidia Bank, a great prize for the winner. All you have to do is email us at studio@westbroketv.org with On the Sidelines as the subject matter. I will repeat that address at the photos from On the Sidelines portion of the show. Now on with the show. In the sport of hockey, there is a term used for players that fight or act as enforcers to help maintain a sense of fair play in the game. These players are known as Goons. I am glad to welcome to the show Paul D'Amato, who played a goon in the cult movie Slapshot, and a man who wrote about his life in a book titled Goon, Doug the Thug Smith. Doug, Paul, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good to be here. Okay, let's start a little bit. Paul, we'll start with you. Before we get to the movies and the Slapshot, I think you were born in Worcester, you're raised in Framingham. We're here right in the middle in Westboro.
Yeah.
Well, how did Worcester and Framingham frame your life, or how did it get to you to a certain point?
We followed my father.
Yeah.
We followed my father's work, and his work as an insurance man. So we followed him, from Spencer to Boston to Framingham. Okay. What we did was we watched the world go by as it related to sports and things like that.
You were in Framingham High School.
I was in Framingham High.
Yeah. Did you play hockey there?
No.
No hockey.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't choose to play hockey until afterwards, and it was because I was following a music career, and I was playing guitar at the time.
You were in a group.
I can see the correlation.
Yeah. I was playing guitar at the time, and we just I never played hockey in college.
Yeah.
But I mean I did play hockey in college, and I said to myself when I was in the service, I said, people were dying around me because Vietnam was around in our era.
Right.
And people were dying around me, and I said, the heck with this, I'm going to follow my bliss, so to speak. And so I went into acting. And
now, by going into acting, that means going to school, or how?
I went to Emerson College.
You went to Emerson,
I went to Emerson
yeah. College
in Boston. And while I was there, I said to my roommate, Hustling Hugh Monroe from Wellesley, I said to Huey, I said, how am I gonna get 2 credits in phys ed? I want to get a BS in speech. I don't want to get a Bachelor of Arts. I want to get a Bachelor of Science. How do I do that? Do I take body movement? Do I take tap? What do I do?
Yeah.
And he says, no. He says, what are you, crazy? He says, play hockey with us. I said, what are you talking about? He says, you play hockey, right? I go, yeah. He goes, well, we'll play hockey with us. And I go, oh my God, are you kidding me? He goes, no. So I said, where do I sign up? And so I went down and walked on, made the team.
This is varsity.
This is varsity, yeah. Well, it was a varsity sport.
Yeah?
We had basketball, hockey, and wrestling were the varsity sports in Emerson College. We got a letter and a jacket and all that stuff. And I just pursued my dream and played hockey, and I had a heck of a time.
But you're still into guitar, music, and acting.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So hockey got you the credits.
Hockey got me the 2 credits. My junior year, my senior year, I played 2 years at Emerson College, and it got me the 2 credits that I needed to graduate from, without taking body movement, without taking the modern jazz or
You missed out on the tap dance.
yeah, exactly.
So we come through and we, somewhere around the mid-70s, this movie Slapshot is going to come out. You know nothing about it, I suppose.
No.
How? But you, I guess you played hockey.
I
What intrigued you? The hockey part? Did they come after you?
I was sitting in my agent's office.
Yeah.
My agent said to me, "What can you do that other guys can't do? I've got to sell you," because he sold flesh. And I go, "What can I do that other guys?" I go, "I ski." And he goes, "Everybody skis." I go, "I played hockey in college, all right? I'm probably the best skater you ever sat in front of." And he upset me a little bit. And but I figured discretion is the better part of valor. And he said, "Well, next time there's a hockey film, I'll let you know." And I go, yeah. All right. So I walk out of there. I'm angry and upset. And he said, I go down, I leave, and I go, I'm never talking to this guy again. Well, about 3 weeks later, he called me up, and he goes, "You play hockey, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "You got an audition at 1 o'clock in the morning at Sky Rink." I go, "Okay."
No, where's Sky Rink?
Sky Rink was on 33rd Street
Right
in Manhattan.
Right in New York City?
Yep. And it was up on the 13th floor. It was where Channel 13 is now. And because they have, what do you call it, downtown, they have hockey facilities downtown.
Now this was a full-size rink on the
Chelsea Piers.
on the 13th floor?
On the 13th floor, yeah, it was a
Wow.
full-size rink.
That's crazy.
And he said, you're gonna play hockey. I go, "Okay." He goes, "Can I ask you a question?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, why are they having it at 1 o'clock in the morning?" I said, "It's the only time they can get ice." He said, "What's that?" I said, "Never mind, just tell him I'll be there." So I decided I was going to practice. I'm gonna take my stick and my cup and my knee pads, my elbow pads, and the heck with it. The rest will follow, and I'll wear sweats. And I realized as I was tying my skates up that, oh my God, I can be in this thing. These guys can't skate like I can. I said, as long as you don't have a heart attack and die right here,
Right.
you'll be fine. And so I stepped out onto the ice, caught up with my heartbeat. When I crossed the blue line, someone slid me the puck. I don't even remember who. Someone slid me the puck, and I roofed it, and I tried to take the goalie's head off, and I said, "Come on, let's play some tomahawk," right? And that was
So
it.
it was almost like you were trying out for a hockey team versus trying out for a
I was
movie
trying
guy.
I was trying to make the team. I wanted
you
to
were trying
make
to
the
make the
team.
team.
I wanted to make Newman's team.
Yeah, it was an acting team.
And George Roy Hill goes, "Come here, you."
Oh, he was there, the director.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah.
was there, yeah.
He blows a whistle, and I go, "What do I do now?" And he goes, "Come here." He goes, "Can you act?" I go, "Yeah, I can act." He goes, "I don't have to see you anymore. I got to deal with these people over here," and they were pretty bad, pretty bad skaters. And I think there were like three guys from that, Steve Mandillo, Brad Sullivan, the late Brad Sullivan, and myself, who made
From that 1 o'clock.
the cut from that 1 o'clock in the morning. And there was probably 20 guys up there.
Now, what time of year would that be? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was probably in February or March,
Yeah.
because the next day he said, George Roy Hill said, "Can you be in my office?" I goes, "Yeah." He goes, the next day I was in his office, and I did the Johnny Upton speech, and everybody, "It's going to wiggle it with the exception of my wife's going to go running for the exits," and put him on the ground. And he goes, "I want you in my film. I don't know where, but I want you in my film." I said, okay. I said, "What can I do?" He says, "Go home and skate. Get in shape." So I called my friend Billy, who was the former captain of Norwich, who was at that point the Essex Junction High School hockey coach.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yo, Bill, Paulie, I need some ice time.
Yeah.
Can I come down and skate with the kids?" And he goes, "Yeah, come on down. They'd love to have you." Now, this is a guy who is the well, like I said, he was the former captain of Norwich, and he was now the coach of the high school hockey team in Essex Junction, and he was inviting me down. Now you can't do that today. You can't do that. You would have to go through USAA hockey. You'd have to take a physical. You'd have right.
Oh,
exactly.
yeah, Corey checked or whatever.
Exactly. But at that point, he said, come on down and come on down, skate with the kids. So I come down. Well, you ever want to get in shape? Skate with 15-year-olds.
Oh.
And you know they go sideways and I go straight and they could still beat me. So
these scenes, and we're going to take a look at some of the scenes. I mean, you were really skating out there.
Oh
in
yeah,
the scenes.
oh yeah, yeah.
It just-
Well, Haskell Wexler.
They didn't speed it up at the end.
No. Haskell Wexler had a Steadicam. That's why I asked you about the Steadicam earlier, and he did a film called Bound for Glory, and he walked into the crowd with the Steadicam, and it was a beautiful shot, and he used the Steadicam as part of the technology for the picture. Well, we didn't have that. We had people in wheelchairs, we had people on skates, we had regular dollies in on the huge Panavision 35mm cameras. I mean, this was a Hollywood film.
Yeah. So,
And we didn't use any of the technology that was available to us because we didn't know about it. It was being perfected as we spoke, and the rest is history.
well, let's see if you could act. We've got a scene here from Slapshot. We're not movie critics, but I think we can get a flavor and actually see you in the film. Here we go.
Hey, McCracken. Dunlop, you suck.
All I can get.
$100 says you're gonna crack my skull, huh?
I wouldn't crack your knuckles for $100.
So he's bluffing.
Yeah, well, somebody's gonna kill you, you dumb son of a but it's not gonna be me.
Well, there you have it. A lot of, especially women, would love to act with Paul Newman. You ever seen with Paul Newman?
It's my idol.
He coming down. Based on research I have here, this movie was filmed in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, Hamilton, Utica, and Syracuse, New York. Where were you?
That was Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
That was Johnstown, Pennsylvania.
That was Johnstown, Pennsylvania. Yep. At the War Memorial Auditorium.
Both scenes. The
Yep.
Paul Newman and then on the ice.
Yep.
And because that was, the script was written by a woman named Nancy Dowd, we'll see her
Yes,
later.
yeah.
And her brother played for the Johnstown
Right.
Chiefs back then.
Right.
So
I
that's
think they
what,
might have been, were they the Johnstown Jets?
Oh, the Jets back then?
The real
Yeah,
team.
The real team,
Johnstown
yeah.
Jets. Right.
Right.
So those scenes, let's take the first one with Paul Newman.
Yep.
And we'll do the second one. Do you remember how many takes it took? Especially when you're hitting into Michael Onke in there.
All right.
Are you good on first takes?
The first one.
Yeah.
No. The first one with the one that I said Dunlop.
Yeah, we understand, yeah.
Okay. He was. First of all, it was in your spare time. It was Dunlop.
Yeah.
In your spare time. Okay. And then they cut the in your spare time because it was redundant.
Yeah.
All right. Then that's at least that's what George Roy Hill told me. The second one, okay. The first one was basically a gunfight.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're coming down, yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking a gunfight, and I'm gonna just shoot it. that was it. And the second one was the one with Onkeen. Oh,
Yeah.
and when I smashed him into the boards.
Right.
Yeah, well, that I had a rubber stick for that.
Well,
I
really?
skated, yeah. That was probably 13 or 14 takes, with the guys egging me on, screaming, "Hit him harder! Hit him harder!" And I'm like,
Well, he actually did play hockey for
Michael.
University of New Hampshire.
Michael was a great
Yeah,
hockey
right,
player.
yeah.
Michael was a good hockey player. Yeah, he played and Handrahan.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Handrahan the goalie. Yeah. Mike played hockey, and I didn't want to leave my feet, because if you leave your feet, you lose. You lose.
That was a penalty, yeah.
Yeah. So I kept one foot on the ground and smashed him as hard as I could, and with a rubber stick. And I'm sure you could see it bending, but you didn't see it there.
Well, how about the sword fights? Were those rubber sticks or those real sticks?
That was rubber sticks. Now with that was rubber sticks when we went to joust each other, and then it was balsa wood when he hit me. When George Roy Hill sat down and hit me.
That's the way it was.
And that's the way it was. Yeah.
And so how was Paul Newman? How was he off the set? Did you interact with him?
He was great. He was great. Let me tell you about Paul Newman. Paul Newman was. I found in that scene. You see where he sits up and says, "Go get him, killer."
Yeah. And
I listened to George Hill. I listened to him give Paul direction on that piece. And he said, "I need about 10 seconds of film here, and I need you to sit up and with a smile, and then say, 'Go get him, killer.'" And so, okay, so I watched that, and I watched that happen, and I watched Newman go get him, killer. Okay, so I had to wait, because I had to wait until dailies came in, and dailies didn't come in for another 2 days. So 2 days later, we're sitting in there, and I'm watching, and oh my God, he did it. He did exactly what George Roy Hill asked him to do. And I found myself next to Newman, and I found myself saying, "That was a great moment." And then I realized, what are you doing? You're telling Paul Newman he had a great moment. And I said, "Sorry about that, Chief. I'm sorry." And I went over and I sat down, and I was like, "Oh God." All right. So the next night was the stick fight. And the next night was the stick fight, and so we brought these in, and I'm watching the stick fight, and I'm going, yeah, this is okay, yeah, this is good. I like this. And I find myself someone's in my periphery and it's Paul Newman. And I go, what? And he goes, you're crazy. And I go, thank you.
And not to interrupt you, but I mean, those scenes,
Yeah.
you really do act and play like a crazy guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
do it
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
obviously, I'm not giving you a kick here, but I
Yeah.
mean, you know, your features.
Well, the
right?
facial
Your
expression- the facial
expressions.
expressions,
You got the
yeah.
wide eyes,
Yep.
and you
Yep.
know, back then
He's
of course, you
bugged
were
out.
younger,
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
and you certainly portray like a wild man. So
Yep.
that was the perfect character for you.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
really, well, you killed it. I mean, you were great.
Maybe he
Yeah.
was in characters.
But you know what I'm saying? I mean,
No,
well,
I
it's
understand.
fantastic.
You know what? Yeah, in looking back, absolutely.
Right.
But when I first came to George Hill, I said, what can I do with this role?
Mm.
You know? And he said, you can do anything you want.
Yeah, so he gave you a
And
long
I went,
leash.
oh my
Yeah.
God, anything I want? He says, you can do anything you want. I go, okay,
Right.
thank you.
So if acting like a wild man it comes natural to you,
Yeah.
well, you should have gotten
Yeah.
an Academy Award. because
Yeah.
You were,
Yeah.
that was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And as a hockey player,
Yeah.
you know, if I saw you coming at me, I'd be like, oh my God, look at this guy.
Yeah,
He's out of his mind.
yeah, he's,
Yeah.
So that was fantastic.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it was part of the game.
Sure.
Part of the game.
So you were playing a goon. I don't even know if the term goon was around back then, but you were the goon in the movie.
Yep.
Well, let's go over to the real goon.
Yeah.
Let's go over to Doug. You were born in Mass, so give us a little background on how you before you got the goon.
Yeah, I was born in Quincy, Mass,
Yeah, yeah.
and we relocated down to Hanover, Mass, South Shore,
Yeah.
south of Boston. And I grew up in Hanover. I went to Hanover High School. And like Paul, I didn't play high school hockey. I didn't play hockey at all, as a matter of fact, until I was out of high school. And I only played hockey as a 19, 20-year-old just so I could pal around with my friends who all played hockey. You know, they would skate on ponds. They would rent ice on a Friday night. And, you know, I would sit in the stands and watch them play with other friends that didn't play, but I felt like I was missing out. My background from 12 years old up to my 20s was I was an amateur boxer. My father was an amateur boxer. He was actually a paid sparring partner for professionals in our area in the 60s. So I was kind of groomed into boxing. And long story short, you know, my hockey career became, you know, real through fighting, because professional hockey allowed fighting. And I'm sure a lot of people will say, well, Jesus, you didn't start skating until you were 19, 20. How did you make it to professional hockey? I was athletic. I was able to pick up skating relatively quickly. It only took me a couple of years, enough to keep my balance. I certainly wasn't going out there to be a goal scorer. You know, Paul, I mean, I've seen you skate in the movie. I mean,
Yep.
Paul was 10 times the skater I ever was. But that wasn't my angle. My angle was enough to keep my balance that I could drop my gloves and fight, which again was allowed in hockey,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
at the professional level. And I knew my boxing background would carry me half the distance. So now it was just a matter of, where can I get a tryout? Who can I get in contact with to let me in? Because the hockey fraternity is tight. And so, like I said, my angle from the beginning to the end was just learn balance to fight.
Well, let's look at one scene here. Supposedly in the movie, how you got your job, and we'll see this.
Tonight we have a very special guest joining us. Doug, the Thug, Glad.
I'm a big fan. It's a good show.
Speaking of fans, let's go to the phones. Hi there, you are the final caller ever on Hot Ice.
Oh, hi, this is Willie Hortense. I'm the head coach of the Orangetown Assassins.
Yeah? Go f yourself.
Patty, do me a favor, okay? Let me talk to your buddy there, Doug. Hey, Doug, I'm calling you because you impressed the hell out of me last night. A lot of other people, too.
Thank you. You impressed me a hell of a lot, too.
I'll be direct. What I want you to do is come down to the ring tomorrow. Come up there for a tryout. You think about it, okay? Tomorrow, 2:30.
Okay. Yeah, I hope to see you there tomorrow at 2:30.
Well, that's the movies. But how theoretically you got your first tryout.
Right. So, long story short, after I played hockey, a friend of mine who was a journalist, has a writing background, said, you know, the years of minor league hockey, all the stories I've heard from you, bus rides and the lifestyle, he said, you should write a book. And I said, listen, I'm not writing a book. I barely made it out of high school. I'm not writing a book. But if you want to write a book, be my guest. We wrote a legit autobiography.
Now this is Adam
Frattasio. Yeah,
So he was a schoolmate of yours, or?
We grew up together
We
in
grew up
Hanover.
together.
Yep, we
Yep.
lived down the street. We palled around. He comes from a family of 9, all sports. You know, all the kids played sports. So
Yep.
we were buddies since we were 15. He wrote a book. It took off. It just sold a lot. And someone in Hollywood had read the book, and they said, you know, we should make a movie about hockey enforcers. Not particularly Doug Smith, but just hockey enforcers. They've been a part of the game forever. They mean so much to the game and to the teams. And we can use his book as a background, as a basis, which is how the movie came about.
Right, yeah.
Now, that scene we just saw, that was scripted in. I didn't fight somebody in the stands and get noticed by a coach and get invited out for a tryout. A lot of the movie is scripted.
Well, if you look at the movie, in the beginning it says, based on a true story.
Right, it's based on my true
Based on a
story,
true
right.
story, yeah.
But I mean, in reality, I'd say 50% of the movie was legit
Yeah.
off of my book. The other half, again, was scripted,
Yeah.
you know, for comedy's sake,
Oh, yeah.
to sell. Like I said, if it was the Doug Smith story, it would have tanked. They would have made a penny. But, you know, they had to run a little bit here and there. And that was a scene that they kind of, you know, just threw in there. You know, the coach sees me fighting somebody and, you know.
Well, the next scene is one I like. It's kind of funny. I assume, I'm going to guess it was scripted. But we're going to show, this is when you were trying out for the team. And they have you coming on, there you are, coming on the ice. And I like your skates. We'll see your skates.
Doug! Come on, your son.
Who the is this guy? Christ. Wow. Nice wheels, boy.
Stop being mean to my friend! They're his gay brothers! What, you never seen figure skates before?
Howdy.
I don't know what you sweethearts are all laughing at. 1 and 9 last time I checked, so shut the up and let this guy have his shot, all right?
Coach, you're not actually going to let this guy join the team. You're not joining the escapades, right, buddy?
You're not trying out for the escapades.
Spit it out. You're a big boy. Use your big boy words.
That's how it started in the movies. I think you were a better skater than that.
Yes, I was definitely a
But
better skater.
he had to be pretty good. Sean William Scott played you. He had, I think, had to do pretty good to act like that.
Yeah, he was a better skater than
He was
that
a better-
himself.
I'm sure, yeah.
And he was a phenomenal actor in the role. I mean, most people remember him as Stifler in the movie Apple Pie,
Uh-huh.
American Apple Pie, whatever it is. And he's a great guy. But again, a little bit of scripted there. I went to my first training
He
camp.
did Lethal Weapon, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I went to my first training camp in regular skates, of course. I would never worn figure skates. They just did that.
Oh, I thought that was great.
Oh,
the way
it's
they-
great.
the way they
Absolutely.
did that. Yeah.
The first time I saw that, when we first saw
Yeah.
the rough clip of the movie, I was like, oh my God, what a great idea.
Yeah. Welcome back to On the Sidelines. We had a little technical glitch here, but we're with Doug Smith and Paul D'Amato, a couple of goons in real life and in the movie. And we're going to continue on. I think we were talking about, Doug, the Carolina Thunderbirds won the championship your first year. I did a little research on that. It's amazing when you do research for shows. This is a piece of trivia that nobody will care about, but I'm going to say it. You had a goalie by the name of Nick Vitucci.
Correct.
His goals against average was 4.65. I don't think he'd make Westboro High this year. But what I found out is he is the only goalie in professional hockey to score a goal when the opposing goalie was playing.
Correct.
And what happened is this was years after you.
Right.
He shot it down. The opposing goalie went to get it, spun around to pass it, and put it in his own net. He got credit for the
He
goal.
got credit for it.
To my knowledge, the only goalie that scored when the opposing goalie.
And
We've had Ron Hextall score on empty
Yeah.
netters, etc.
And to add to that, that scene that you're talking about was actually on ESPN.
Oh, is that right?
I don't know if you can still find it, but
Yeah.
it was on ESPN because it was that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had some pretty good players. You here it is your first year, and you win what they call the Riley Cup. Was that a
Right.
big deal in?
Yeah, I mean
down
for
in
that
Carolina when you won?
league, the East Coast Hockey League was just starting out. There was only 5 or 6 teams in the league, so to win the Riley Cup obviously was huge. You know, we got championship rings that I still have today.
Do you? Yeah.
Yep. And I did not actually play in the playoff series, the finals anyway. They decided to obviously put real hockey players in my position because there wasn't a lot of fighting in the playoffs. It just gets serious.
Well,
It
gets
just,
the real hot, yeah.
Right.
More real
so I
hockey,
really
yeah.
wasn't needed at that point.
Yeah.
And but I still, as part of the team, I got a ring.
Right.
It was.
Well,
believe me,
you
it
helped
was
the team
incredible.
get there. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was
Exactly.
incredible.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
And you beat the Johnstown team.
We beat
which-
the Johnstown
who you
Chiefs.
played for the next year.
Yep. So the following year, I went to Johnstown, where Paul had his movie filmed,
Right.
and I played in that arena, the War.
Yeah.
And I played for Coach Steve Carlson,
Steve Carlson.
who
Oh,
was
Steve.
one of the
Yeah,
Hanson
yeah.
brothers in his movie. I mean, so for a guy like me, getting to play in that arena where the movie was filmed, get to be a player for a coach who was not only a legitimate professional hockey fighter himself,
Yeah.
but now he's the coach. He's in the movie. I mean, you know, it doesn't get any better.
Well, you must have seen the movie as a young boy.
Oh, 1,000 times.
1,000 times.
Oh, God, yeah.
Before you ever met.
Right,
this
before
guy
I
here.
met Paul.
Yeah.
And then to meet the coach who was in the movie,
Yeah.
you know, you're starstruck. You're like, oh, my God. Like, here you are.
And they want me.
And they want me to fight. And I'll never forget the phone call. I mean, I was home during that hockey year. There was only about 10 or 12 games left of the season, and Steve Carlson calls me up, and he says, Smitty, are you still interested in doing it? Meaning, are you still interested in fighting? I said, what do you got? He goes, listen, we're not in the playoffs. We're out, but we have about 10 games left, and every team that we're playing from here on in has an asshole that I would love to pay back, that he's caused us problems throughout the year. And I said, see you tomorrow. Hopped in my car and
Count
drove
me
to
in.
Johnstown. And he literally said, you have free reign. Like, you know who these tough guys are. You've either fought them before from last year, or you just, I know you follow the sport. And every time I got on the ice, he would just say, here you go, right wing, line up next to him. And I already knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So you talk about having, you know, a long leash. It was incredible. It was incredible.
Well, you have a long leash. You played with the Moncton Hawks. Andy Brickley was there
Correct.
your year. The Phoenix Roadrunners, Springfield Falcons, Louisiana Ice Gators. Love the name. And the Springfield Falcons, again, they had a fellow by the name of Daniel Briere,
Right.
who was very good.
He was
So,
a major league NHL
yeah,
star.
you played with some good
I
players.
played with some real good guys, and I was brought in because of those guys.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't have a protector for a
Well-
game or two, and I was basically a suitcase. I mean, I jumped around from team to team. You know, 3 games here, 1 game there, 2 games here. I bounced around, but my job was specific.
Yeah.
You know, Daniel Briere is a draft pick, a first-round draft pick, and we don't want anyone running him or hurting him. This is why you're on the bench. You're an insurance policy. And if someone acts up, you're going to go out and you're going to kick their ass. And if not, then
Well, there's a lot of discussion on that today because the players police themselves. Now it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
And we can discuss that for another hour. But,
of course.
for
Right. The
another-
game
but
has certainly
it-
changed.
it's
There's no
certainly
two ways
changed,
about
yeah.
it.
Well, let's switch gears here for a minute. Let's go back to Paul. And Paul, we do Slapshot. We talk about Goon, and then we have this movie called The Deer Hunter. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
talk about the opposite ends of spectrum.
Yeah.
We have a Vietnam War going on.
Yep.
And how did you get this? You didn't have to skate for this film.
No.
Yeah, and you didn't have to learn lines too much. But anyway, how?
I met I'll tell you a funny story about that. I met Robert De Niro when I auditioned for The Deer Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said basically, I don't have to see you anymore. Thank you very much. And I said thank you, and I left. And as I left, one of the guys said to me, what are they doing? What are they looking for? I said, they're looking for big muscular guys. And I wasn't it. So I left and went down. And
So you were just figuring he dismissed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't. He didn't. Michael Cimino decided that he wanted me, and he wanted me for the role.
Well, let's take a look at this role here.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's Green Beret. Hey! Okay. Woo! Jerry, give the man a drink. Hey, give him a drink. Sir. Sir. Na zdrowie. Na zdrowie. Don't cause any kind of problem. I don't want to talk to the man. I want to talk to the man. What's going on with him? Sir, Mike Bronski. Nick. This is the groom, Steve.
I'm the best man.
We're going airborne, sir.
I hope they send us where the bullets are flying.
That's right.
Fighting's the worst, huh?
That's right. Fuck it. What do you say? Fuck it, that's what I did.
Who the hell is he?
Oh, fuck.
He looks like a fucking hillbilly.
Give me another drink, Jerry, just the same. Hey, fuck it.
There you go.
Yeah.
In the Deer Hunter, how many times that scene? I mean, what were you drinking there?
Tea. Number one,
Yeah.
tea, and number two, 26 times.
Oh, really?
Each
time you said.
No, each setup.
Each setup.
So and there were two setups.
I mean, you had Robert De Niro in that, Meryl Streep, Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
It wins 5 Academy Awards.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was a piece at that point in time. I mean,
Yep.
the country was divided then, maybe as much as it is now.
Controversy, right?
Well, there was so much controversy that De Niro during the war, De Niro said, "America, love it or leave it," and all I did was look. So I didn't say anything, as opposed to being the anti-war statement
Right.
in the.
Now that movie was filmed in Thailand and 8 other towns and cities in West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Washington.
Yeah.
Where you weren't here? You are Hollywood movies, but you were never in Hollywood. Where was this?
Interestingly enough, that was in Shaker Heights in Cleveland.
That was in Cleveland.
Lemco Hall, Shaker Heights in Cleveland, where Paul Newman was from.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. We were. I was told to report there, and I was given two pieces of script. F it on one page and f it on the other page. That was it.
So how long did it take you to learn your lines?
They laughed. Freddie Schuler, who's the director of photography, Freddie Schuler was he was saying we were laughing behind the camera because we knew that you were going to say f it, and that's all. And so it wasn't you weren't going to go up on your lines.
Yeah.
And they were waiting for you to go line. And I said, no, I said I wouldn't do that.
But I love the look. I mean,
Yeah.
you're playing the Green Beret. It was
Right,
a tough period of time.
imposing look that you
Yeah.
had.
3 haircuts later, and 3 taking into the suit.
Oh, is that yeah?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
So where did you get that? How did you get that role? Again, in New York?
Again, it was the same casting director.
Same casting director?
as before.
Yeah.
I was the only vet. I was the only vet there. I mean, me and Tony. Tony was the stunt coordinator.
Yeah.
He was the production.
So you had
coordinator.
served.
I had served.
Oh,
I had served already, and I was the only one who had served out of the entire group of John and Bob and Chris and all those guys.
So what was it like back then? I mean, Meryl Streep was starting out. Christopher Walken. I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of people didn't know who they were back then.
Right. Right. They didn't. They
Yeah.
didn't. They didn't know what they were getting into. We saw the Deer Hunter in black and white and without music. So it was devastating to us when I came out of that film. It was like, oh my God, I've been through the ringer. And
Well, it's a tough movie to watch.
yeah,
For
well,
me.
Well,
Yeah.
with music
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
in color,
Yeah.
it's a tough movie.
Yeah.
You imagine with black and white and no music, because you weren't told what to think.
Yeah.
Right. And I was going to ask you, yourself included in some of those actors, is that a type of movie that you don't regret doing it, but do you have second thoughts after you watch it saying, what am I into here? Is this going to kill my career, or am I going to regret doing this? Am I going to be blackballed?
Yeah.
Like
In
for the time period.
The time period, okay. What I said to myself was, and I can only speak for me, right, was we got 5 Academy Awards and they can't take it away from me.
Right.
There's no way they can take it away from
Right.
me with those 5 Academy Awards. I'm in, and so the heck with what they're going to say.
The critics.
Yeah, because you had people taking a stand.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
On whether it was good and whether it wasn't good. Okay, fine.
Right.
Take a stand. That had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
That had to do with the writers. That had to do with the direction. All I said was "F it and so.
With Academy Awards, though, for a movie like that, are you individualized? Like, do they specifically say the movie itself, or is it like best actor only, best supporting this person? How do you get acclaimed as an Academy Award winner, or are you not? How does it work?
Okay, we got Best Picture.
Right, so you're included outright.
I'm included outright,
Gotcha.
and that was it as far as that's concerned. Bobby got Best Actor.
Yeah.
Chris
Chris
Walken
Walken
got
got Best Supporting Actor.
Right. And like you said earlier, not to interrupt you, but I
Yeah.
mean, all those people that were so young,
Oh,
and
yeah.
today to say to yourself, wow, look at how much they've done after that.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
they've all exploded.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Yep.
That was tremendous.
Yep. Right after that, they were giving away T-shirts right after that with fucking A on it, and they were giving away T-shirts with the Deer Hunter and John Savage was on hair, so you know.
No, that's tremendous.
Yep.
Let's go back. I want to talk about Nancy Dowd. Nancy
Nancy
Dowd is the one, and here she is. She wrote the script
Right.
of Slapshot
Right.
based on her brother,
Right.
who played for the Johnstown team
Right.
the year before.
Correct.
And at the end, there was a fella by the bad guy beside you was Ogie Oglethorpe.
Yeah.
Sure.
And here's Ogie. Here's what Ogie looked like
Right.
in the movie.
That's
Character.
Ned
Now,
Dowd.
that's Ned Dowd, which is
right
Nancy's
there.
brother.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I got to ask you this. He was supposedly, that part was based on a fellow by the name of Goldie Goldthorpe.
Right.
Bill
Now,
Goldthorpe.
Bill
Bill
Goldthorpe.
Goldthorpe.
Correct.
Now,
Right.
I met, and there he is there, I met Goldie this past summer.
Did you?
Yep.
I met Goldie.
That's great.
And I got to ask you this. I happened to have dinner with him. He was at my table at a golf tournament. In the personalities of Goons, on and off the ice, they're completely different. Completely different. But the story I saw somewhere, and I don't know if you can corroborate this or not, was that Goldie was supposed to be in the movie, but he was in the locker room and threw a beer bottle that hit Paul Newman's brother in the head or something, and they said, "Goldie, you're out of here." Truth, fiction,
I
can you
can't.
believe it?
I can't corroborate that story.
You can't.
No, because I wasn't there. And
So let me add to it, because I know this
Yeah,
is your
yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
But here's what I heard on a similar situation
Yeah.
was that he was asked to be in the movie, but he went AWOL days before his
Oh, really?
shoot his scene, and he just disappeared. And he just left, just took off.
Well, when I met him, his book, he just came out, the book.
Yeah.
So I went through the book, and it's kind of, it doesn's mention too much about this at all. But Goldie was quite a guy.
Oh, yeah.
He set the penalty minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a minor league legend when it
Oh,
comes
yeah,
to hockey
yeah,
fighting.
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, myself, I know him personally. I've done golf tournaments with
Yeah.
him over the years. He's a tremendous personality.
Oh, God.
But on the ice, he was
Whole
as
different.
crazy and nutty as any hockey fighter has ever been.
Well,
and I didn't ever consider myself a goon, so to speak.
Right.
We just use that for a title for our book and, of course, the movie. But if there was ever like a real goon, like a guy who was really out there to just hurt people.
So
That was this guy here.
Yeah, it was Goldie.
He played hockey one night and be in jail the next night.
Yeah, if you read his book, and I read the book, I mean, his life is, he got arrested more than, he had 1,000 penalty minutes. I think he got arrested more times.
Right.
It was
I
quite
have a
life.
shirt that I have at my house.
Yeah.
It's a long sleeve white T-shirt. It has that picture on the front of it,
Yeah.
and on the back it has every jail he's been in. And I'm telling you, there's got to be 50. It's the print is so
The
small
jail
because
tour
so
or
many.
something
It's
like
like a
that.
jail tour shirt.
Yeah, yeah.
And I cherish the shirt because I had him autograph it.
Oh, did you?
At
Oh,
a
yeah.
golf tournament. I brought it with me.
Well,
He autographed
I got the book autographed.
Right.
I don't have the jersey
But
autographed
all
yet.
the jails he's been in over his, and he was a young guy. He was in his 20s when all this took place.
Yeah. No, read the book
yeah.
about what happened with him and Bob Costas when Bob Costas was a young
Try to interview
sports.
him.
Just read the book. I'm not going to tell you, but it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so much for Rogie. We're going to go take a break. We're going to do photos from on the sidelines. Now, some of you people like to take pictures. Some of us like sports, and some of us like to do both, take pictures in sports. So for you younger people out there, try taking a picture and maybe try getting it autographed. This is a picture I took in 2017. And on the left we have Chris Nyland, who was a goon, talk about a goon legend.
Boston-based boy.
And on the right we have Forbes Kennedy, another tougher player in a different year.
From the Maritimes.
Maritimes.
Great guy. I've met him before.
Yep, good guy.
Yep.
And we're at a golf tournament, and they were getting ready to send us out in our cards. And all of a sudden I noticed Chris and Forby together. So I ran over to him. I said, guys, give me a quick picture. Give me a quick picture. And they did. And this is how they posed. So I was very fortunate. Got it autographed. But what I did for the next year in the tournament, I took that picture and then I did this. I made a poster.
Oh.
And what I did is I have the dates and every penalty. Forby, on April 2nd, 1969, he had eight penalties and 38 penalty minutes. And on March 31st, 1991, a game I took my son Dave to, Chris Nyland broke the record with 10 penalties in 42 minutes. So they have the record for most penalties in most penalty minutes. So we made up the poster, we had them autograph the poster, and we auctioned that off.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So it's great when you can take these and then autograph them, get them money for charities. I mean, that's just tremendous.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what I'd like to talk about. If we can show another picture here. You gentlemen have really helped in charity. Not just this one. This is my son Dave, Skating for Hope. He has a charity to help cancer patients. And there you are, both Paul and Doug.
Yep.
And then we have another picture of the two of you hamming it up. But you two, I don't mean to embarrass you, but you do a lot of charity work at different events, both of you.
Well, we both agree. I mean, we're fortunate for what we've had in our lives, right? Ball's had acting and exposure. You know, I was a underdog that came out of nowhere, pond skater, and look what I have today: 2 books and 2 movies.
That's right.
We're very gracious for what we have.
Yeah.
But we also understand that there's a lot of people that don't have what we have, and whether it's just simple support, like your son's tournament. I mean, Paul and I tried never to miss that.
Yeah.
And I mean, even to show up for a few hours and say hi to people and shake hands of other people that might be sick or whatnot, you know, believe me,
And
we get more out of this than you think.
I think we saw Air Force and
We saw
Holy
a game.
Cross.
That's right.
At that game.
Right.
D1.
Right.
Whoa, up and down
Right.
and up and down and up and down.
Right.
Oh my God, these
So
guys.
to answer your question, I mean, again, Paul and I, we're certainly on the same page when it comes to things like charities, donations. I mean, all you have to do is ask.
Yeah.
And, you know, we try to go out of our way. We've done many, many things together over the years.
That's right.
And it's just the right thing to do.
And it's amazing, especially Slapshot, 1977-8, even yours, Doug, the people, you guys, they look up to meet you
second
guys.
and third generation and
Yes.
fourth generation.
To keep it going.
Right. I mean, look at Paul. His movie's in the 70s,
Yeah.
and he's still
Unbelievable.
recognizable today.
Yeah.
People call him Dr. Hook or
I was-
McCracken.
I was-
They still know him as that.
I was sitting with Rod Gilbert and Steve Vickers.
Yeah.
And we were doing a thing called Hockey for Heroes, and it was about the World Trade Center.
Oh, geez,
so,
yeah.
so it was back in September of 2001.
Right.
And we were drinking a beer on a Friday night, and Vickers says to me, he says, "Yeah, I'll tell him." Closes his phone. That's how old it is. Closes his phone. Okay. and he says, my kid's on the way to on the way to a game, and they want you to know that he's watching Slapshot. Junior game. And I'm like, wow, second generation, huh? And Gilbert, who is just an extraordinary hockey player.
Yeah, legend.
Right?
Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah.
He says, hey, Bully, well, you were watching us, and we were watching you.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God.
But that's true. And we mentioned something earlier off camera. I mean, there's not a junior hockey team or a high school hockey team that doesn't have a bus or a road trip where they don't have Slapshot somewhere loaded up in a VHS or DVD screen. It's the movie. It's the Holy Grail.
That's exactly right.
And he's part of it.
Yeah, and I remember so there were some former National Hockey League players that come to my son's event. And the people want to meet you, but the former NHL players, they want to meet you guys.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's funny.
Yeah.
It is funny.
And I want to meet them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you've met a ton of people this way. I mean,
Oh,
just
yeah. We've been
whatever
very
you can
blessed,
do.
obviously, in
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
way. I mean, I had Hall of Famer Ray Bork say to me once, you're the most famous hockey player that never played in the show.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. You
And
had
the same as Paul.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, Paul's the most recognizable face. There's the Hanson brothers and all the other characters, but it's him.
Yeah.
He's the real star,
Yeah.
and people recognize him today still. So it's incredible.
A couple quickies. We're running down on time, but I got to ask you. Hockey, you're an actor. Your wife is an actress.
Yeah.
How did she meet you? Because
She's
of
way
hockey,
better
an
than him,
actress.
too.
No.
She's way better than him.
She played the waitress, and I played the truck driver in a reading.
Oh, is that
we
right?
did. Yeah.
And that.
I got my roommate at the time. I got him to ask her out. And I said,
For you or for him?
No, for me. For me. And the rest is
history.
Yeah.
And how about yours, Sharon? Was she hockey? No hockey at all?
No, you know, Sharon and I are kind of opposites when we met. She didn't know about my hockey. I met her after my career, and I think she was kind of taken back with all the violence of the game. But we're still happily together after 20 plus years. We have two beautiful little girls, Vanessa, who's 10, and Victoria is 8 now. And
So when did they get to see the movie?
yeah, it's going to be a long time. I mean, anyone who has seen the movie, obviously, the language is atrocious, but it's for an adult.
Yeah.
But, you know, everything's good in my world. I mean, I have a great job. I'm a cop in the town of Hanson, which is just south of Boston. I work with a great group of people, and, you know, everything's good.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
Paul?
Yeah, thank you.
Doug?
Yes, of
Thank
course.
you. Well, this is Paul McGrath saying, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you at the game. And if you're not in the game, I hope to see you on the sidelines.